welcome to the IMOGENE Slokowski Show. Her guest tonight is Lieutenant Skitters, now Commander Skitters in charge of security for King Pedestrian and President Devane.
Welcome back, our CRZY family. This is IMOGENE Slokowski today, and today we have with us our honored and distinguished guest, our Lieutenant Skitters, here joining us in the studio. How are you doing today, Lieutenant Skitters?
I'm doing good, IMOGENE. Thank you for having me here on your show.
Well, thank you for visiting. We know you're so very busy, and we do thank you very much for joining us here today, and we're honored to have you as our distinguished guest. Our fellow, my fellow concerned Murgatroydians, as well as yours as well, they are in fear, though, that the Murgatroyd serial killer, well, I mean, oh, it's such a mouthful, but for the sake of argument, for MSK, if we must, that he's still free. And being that you have over 25 years on the force with us, you've been the lead investigator on this case ever since it began about 10 years ago or so, ever since MSK came out to do his crimes. Right. And that we know of, that we can confirm. We just wanted to
tell you this.
Thank you.
As you already know from having interviewed Uncle Frank recently, as you know, he did, in fact, the DNA has confirmed he shot MSK, who was invading his house, was attempting to attack and finish off the only known victim to survive MSK, which of course is Shimiko Hiramoto, who married Uncle Frank. Uncle Frank was using silver buckshot in the shotgun because it has been confirmed by the DNA test that MSK is now a vampire. That when he was in the parallel universe, he was bitten and became a vampire. So not only do we have a serial killer on our hands who's back in our universe, but he's a vampire now and somehow survived, we don't know yet how, somehow survived the blast from the silver shotgun when Uncle Frank was attempting to kill him. There was nobody recovered. Because of my current duties, as I've been appointed to a very important position, because of my important duties, I am not in charge of the Uncle Frank MSK investigation now in terms of that. But definitely it's an ongoing thing, and you rest assured the manhunt for MSK will continue unabated, and definitely this is a serious issue, and I want the citizens of Murgatroyd to rest assured that he's died before. He can be taken down. Now that he is a vampire, he can be eliminated and eliminated permanently. And I think in certain cases like this, that is true justice. I think in the elimination of insanely evil individual, it's absolutely justified.
Well, we thank you, Lieutenant Skitters. And so the entire Murgatroyd police force, everybody is on top of this and trying to track him down and trying to help stop it. It's just this reign of just evil doings, I guess, if you could say. And so just, for Murgatroyd, for us to feel safer, you guys are on top of it, and we know you are. And
thank you, IMOGENE.
Are y'all having a great time working together and getting all of this done?
Well, there's a lot of interagency cooperation, yes, and of course I'm working with the Flattown detectives over there on the Flattown Strangler, and there's cases obviously that are ongoing, and of course, as you know, we're at war with the parallel universe. In spite of all of this, having assumed duties of security for King Pedestrian and President Prince Devane, it's vitally important that's my top priority right now, is making sure that our leaders are secure,
especially in our universe.
Yeah,
especially in our universe. Well, we thank you very much, and we'll keep you in our thoughts and in our hearts. That everyone comes home safely, and that true justice can be served. That'll keep us all safe, and you'll be able to do it, Lieutenant. No problem there.
Thank you.
And you mentioned your new position, and so here recently, just to fill everybody at home in, we already know that you do the security detail for President Devane, and now you're getting to do the security detail for King Pedestrian as well?
Yes, I have taken over as security for King Pedestrian, in charge of both security forces, which is quite a daunting task, let me assure you, because it not only covers the entire North American alliance, of which President Devane is head, but of course there's the European, of which King Pedestrian is in charge of the entire European alliance. So it's basically a worldwide security that I'm at present and in charge of.
Well, with great power does come great responsibility, and that's a vast amount of responsibility that you need to assume in your new positions. Congratulations, though. I don't think King Pedestrian could have, or even President Devane could have picked a better head of detail for this.
Thank you very much.
Even though you most recently, though, you almost kind of bit the bullet and took it a bit too early on coming off of a high-rise building. Am I hearing this right?
I came upon, and we don't have time to go into the details of that now, but I directly went to the lair, the den of the high-rise building where the sniper was hidden who had shot President Devane. Now, fortunately, President Devane survived that assassination attempt, but in wrestling with the assailant, this would-be assassin, we both plunged from the high-rise building window and hit the pavement below. I'm going to assure you, virtually every bone in my body was broken, and had I not been immediately flown, medevac immediately to Europe, to Castle Pedestrian, where I was nursed back to health by King Pedestrian, I might add, and where I was in a body cast for the better part of a year. Imogene, I don't think I'd be alive today if it weren't for King Pedestrian. So I owe our great leader my very life.
Indeed, and we all owe him our greatest thanks in helping to make sure that you stayed safe and alive and are still here with us today. Is that what every day is like with your job, though, Lieutenant? Is it? Were you scared? What was that like? The whole drop from the high rise just must have been just terrible. This is purely common interest on my part.
Hundreds of feet down toward the ground from the air is terrifying, obviously, and I felt like I was dead. I thought it was the end, and again, thank God and thank King Pedestrian for saving me. And I think every day is a new day and is a new beginning, and that's how I look at it. And that's why I approach this security job with such gratitude and such intensity. I only wish that I could spend more time with my wife Helen, but she understands. She's been with me now for more than 25 years. She's seen me through thick and thin, and I've got to thank God for Helen too, that I have her by my side.
You know what? That's wonderful. All of that really is beautiful. I'm glad at how it's impacted your day to help you see the things that you didn't see before, and bless your wife Helen for having to deal with you too. I guess I'm pretty sure it wasn't easy for that whole year. Bless her soul.
She's quite a woman. She's one of a kind. Let me assure you, Imogene.
I bet she is. Oh man. Lady, Mr. Skitters, Lieutenant Skitters.
Thank you.
Well, I'm just wondering, with this new, with the new job role that you have, the new detail you required, and it being such an important position really to be held by, did President Devane or King Pedestrian, did you get any official recognition for any of that?
Well, I don't require that, Imogene, though obviously being head of security is in and of itself a prestigious position. I mean, obviously there was a significant pay raise above and beyond the grade of lieutenant at Murgatroyd. Obviously there's perks that come with it. I mean, I'm obviously an international figure. I have to travel back and forth between France and the United States, and it has elevated me to a celebrity status, but that's not something I've ever wanted, as you know. I've always been quite content and quite pleased to be an investigator, a detective, and a lieutenant. This is an honor which I approach with the utmost humility.
Yes, and no suggestion otherwise on my part. My apologies and asking forgiveness if any misunderstandings were portrayed, but I know you don't require any kind of recognition for any of the services you do, which makes you such a great you that you are, with the care that you give, because you truly do care and want us to be safe. You want the safety of all that you have to make sure and protect. And it doesn't, none of that ever falters, and it's noticed. And so thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
We really do
Welcome.
appreciate you, Lieutenant Skitters. And thank you so much for coming in today. That's about really all the questions we had today.
It was so good to see you again. As you recall, I was there at your wedding when MSK was shot. I even identified the body, and as you know, he was later revived and brought back to life at that infernal biotech lab, which I have my own opinions on that. That could be a whole separate show, believe believe me.
Amen.
Indeed. And be that as it may, we've covered a lot of ground. It's been a pleasure, and I've enjoyed being here with you, Imogene.
Well, it is always lovely to be in your company, Lieutenant Skitters. It truly is. And I believe the people of me and Murgatroyd are on the same page there. And trust me, I know, and thank you so much for being at my wedding and doing it. If I ever get married again, yes,
I'm sorry to hear about you and Les. I'm sorry that after all this time it hasn't worked out and that y'all are splitting, but I understand that we all have to make our own decisions.
Indeed, we do. For our own happiness, we are the only ones responsible for it. And sometimes things just don't work out. And sometimes things work out better by working out in such an ugly manner.
I wish you and Les both the utmost success in all of your endeavors.
And why, thank you very much, Lieutenant Skitters. We appreciate you so much. I know I do. I wish him success as well. I wish you all great pleasantness, happiness that you can absolutely enjoy. All right. Well, thank you very much, CRZY listeners, for tuning in today. I guess we will have to see you next week. Stay tuned to see who we got.